welcome back to my channel. Y'all better get ready for another story time because y'all know when this red bonnet come on, it's a juicy story. Like, it's about to be something. It's something new. It's something good. It's something juicy. So y'all better get ready because I'm about to tell y'all the tea about the time I got kicked out because I linked a boy. So let's get right into the story. So it was January 2018, and this boy texted me on Facebook. So we're gonna call him Jamar. So Jamar had texted me on Facebook January 2018. We was texting for like a good 2 weeks, and then we stopped texting because I wasn't really interested in getting in a relationship. So I was like, I don't really want to text him anymore. So I just stopped texting him. So fast forward to January 2019, which is my senior year. We started texting again, but he texted me again this time. Like, I was nowhere in no shape or form looking for his Facebook, none of that. He just texted me. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So he texted me and we started texting again. But like this time, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should give it a chance. I'm gonna text him. You know, and I'm gonna just like keep texting him, you know, entertain it or whatever, see how it goes. So we was texting for like a good 2 weeks. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of feeling the vibe. So I got his number. So mind you, at the time, I was living in my father's house. So my father, like, he don't like gay people, like at all. Like, he's Jamaican. So when it comes to gay people, they is tough. So my dad, he did not like gay people. I know for a fact my dad knows I'm gay, but it's like he be denying it within himself. But I don't even be caring because at the end of the day, I'm gonna do me. So I was still living at his house and I forgot what happened, but my phone had broke. So I was walking on the street, and mind you, this was when I was trying to take the bus because I live in New York City. I'm from Queens, New York. So I'm walking down the street and I gotta take the Q5 bus to the 4 to get to my school, or I could take the 77, but the 77 would be mad packed, like OD packed, like it's mad people in the morning. So I'm like, nah, you're bugging. So my phone broke, and mind you, at the time, when it broke, it was my junior year. But my dad, he was like, oh, you be misbehaving, this and that. I'm not getting you a phone. So I'm like, oh, nah, it's clips. I don't got no phone, none of that. So senior year came around, I still didn't have a phone. So I used to text this boy on a computer. So mind you, when I was like texting on a computer, it was my computer. So like, you know, I had my computer to use at all times when I was home. So the only time I could really message him through Messenger was when I was on my computer at home, or I was at school and I could sign in on a computer and then text him. So that's the only way I was able to communicate with him, because I told him, I was like, I really don't have a phone. Like, my dad said that since my phone broke and he feels like I'm misbehaving, he's not buying me a new phone. So he was like, all right, whatever. So mind you, we had a house phone. So I used to call him on a house phone, but the house phone don't work no more. So that shit is done for. So I used to call him on a house phone or whatever. But mind you, I had an old phone. I had the 4S, but I had that shit for like mad long. But there was no service on it. But like, I downloaded this app called Text Now, and that's how I used to call him. And I used to use the Wi-Fi. So me and him used to speak. Like, I called his number, and then we used to speak when I was on the Wi-Fi at home on the 4S, or I was on the computer. I would be texting him. So we still texting for like a good month. So now it's February. So now he's like, when we gonna link? So I'm like, I don't got no phone, and then the little phone that I got, it don't got no service. So I'm like, honestly, I don't even know how we about to link. So, I used to when I was at school, I would text him on a school computer and be like, oh, be on an Ave by 3:30. And I used to go with one of my friends to the Ave. And I used to be like, wait with me until 3:30, and then when he get here, you can leave. So every single time I got to the Ave and I waited for him, this nigga did not show up by 3:30. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, every time I get here at 3:30, he's not here. I be telling him, wait in McDonald's. I be like, oh, wait by the train station so I could see you. Like, sit on one of them little chairs. Cause it's like by the train station where the buses is at, on the Ave, it's like some chairs like right here. So I'll be like, oh, sit on the chairs, or go sit in McDonald's, or I'll sit in McDonald's and I'll wait for you. But it's hard because I didn't have no phone. And then that little phone that I had, that just started acting up. It didn't want to turn on no more. So at that point, bitch, I was fucked. So I was like, bitch, I don't have no phone. So how am I really supposed to see this nigga? So mind you, he didn't even live in New York. He lived in Jersey. He lived in Newark. So mind you, I'm like, oh nah, this nigga lived deep. And Queens from Newark, that was like, what, 2 hours and something? So I was like, damn, it take you like 2 hours to get to me. He was like, oh, I don't care about the travel. I'll still come see you. Whatever. This is such a ghetto love story, y'all. I swear. So now it's so hard for me to link this nigga. I can't see him. Every time I try to go to the app, every time I try to link him, it's something. So one day, right? This is the next month. This is March. This is March of 2019. This is same year. This is just the next month, March. So I tried to link this nigga in the city, but he failed me once again. I didn't have no phone, so I'm like, okay, meet me in, what's it called? It's a place in New York City. Meet me in Grand Central. That's what I said. I told him, meet me at Grand Central by a certain time, and I'ma just be sitting at this and that place. That's what I told him. So when I told him that, he was like, okay, whatever, I'ma meet you there. So I was waiting. He still didn't meet me there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going home. So I went home. And after I went home, I was texting him on a computer. He was like, oh, got there. I was waiting for you, just like all the other times on the app. He just kept, every time I left and I got home, he texted me and was like, oh, I just got here. Where you at? This, that, third. And I'm like, I just told you I don't have no phone. So I'm not about to be sitting around all day, not having a communication device, not knowing where you at. So the end of March comes, right? And, we just texting, So he like, maybe you should just plan a day to leave school early and then come see me. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Y'all, when I say this, and I remember this exact day, April 12th, to be exact with you, April 12th, 2019, I left school at what? Okay, so the thing with my school was that you could leave after third period because third period was the attendance period. So after third period, you could dip. Like, bitch, you could have been out. Like, every single person that went to my school could dead tell you, like, once third period hit, and bitch, that attendance is taken and third period is over, bitch, you was out. If you wanted to link your nigga, if you wanted to sneaky link somebody that's not your nigga, like, you was gone. So, mind you, April 12th, y'all, in the morning, there was food in my house. So, I took food and put it in my bag to go to school with. And then I ate the school breakfast. So, I left after third period was over. So I'm like, oh, it's lit. I left school, da 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 da. So, mind you, I'm on my way to the train. So I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, I hopped on the Q5. I'm like, yeah, I'm dead ass excited. I'm about to link this nigga, da 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 da. So I get to the train, you know, I get in the train or whatever. Because, you know, in New York City, bitches be hopping trains. So I dead hopped the train. So that's how I got in the train, because I didn't even have no money, y'all. Like, I really didn't have no money to even pay for the train. So I hopped the train. So I get in the train, I hop on the E. I take the E to Grand Central 42nd. And then I took the shuttle train to, I don't even remember how the trains be working sometimes, but I know I took the E to something, and then I was standing, it's Grand Central, and then there's something else, I can't remember, but it's where the New Jersey Transit and the Amtrak is at, and I was like standing right there in like the middle of it, like where everybody was going to separate themselves to go on this train, go on that train, go on that train, to go, you know, to like upstate, to Jersey, or like Connecticut, whatever. All them trains, that's where I was at. So mind you, he gave me his number. So mind you, I didn't have a phone. So I'm over here asking around, and me, I don't like asking people for nothing, especially if I don't know you. That's a big deal for me. So I asked like one of the sergeants that was like sitting down. I was like, oh, can I use your phone like to make an emergency call? You could type the numbers in for me. Like, don't even give me your phone. Because I was like, I know how it is, like, not to trust people. And, you know, people can run away with your phone. Like, I'm not one of those. Like, I'm not going to do that. But I was like, you know, people just, you can't randomly just trust somebody just like that. So the guy, I told him, I was like, oh, can I use your phone to make a quick call? So he was like, no. I'm like, damn. So it was another guy sitting down, like he was at a table, and I guess like they was advertising something. So I came up to the table and I was like, excuse me, sir, like, can I use your phone to make an important call? So he was like, no. And I was like, please, like, it's an emergency. So I called him. Oh yes, I was at Penn Station, 34th Street. That's where I was. I took the E train to Penn Station, 34th Street, and got off there. So now I'm sitting here, I'm making a phone call, and he answered the phone. So I'm like, oh, where you at? Like, I'm in Penn Station. So he like, what Penn Station you at? So I'm like, I'm in Penn Station. He like, oh, I told you to go to Newark Penn Station, like the Penn Station in Jersey, not New York Penn Station. I was like, oh, I thought you said New York. I thought you would have been waiting for me down at Penn Station, Newark Penn Station. That's what he thought. I would have been waiting. I was like, no, I'm in New York Penn Station. So he had to come from Newark to 34th Street. He walked inside. I'm waiting. I waited for a whole hour, y'all. A whole hour. Like, I'm like, it's giving go home. It's about to be time for me to go home. Like, I know I'm gonna end up going home late, but at least if I get home by like 4, I'll be good. I'm thinking like, yeah, let me turn around and go home. I see this nigga. I'm like, you got me waiting all this time to fucking see you or whatever. And you said you wanted to hang out with me. You wanted to do this. You want to do that. Whatever. So, yo, he's like, do you want me to take you home? Or do you want to go to Jersey and see my best friend and see my mother? So I'm like, you know what? Bad decisions, but I was like, we could chill or whatever, go see your mother, you know, see your best friend, and then you could take me home. Mind you, I already said, Queens is like 2 hours away from Jersey. So my dumb ass gonna go say, yeah, let's go to Jersey. So now we on a train, we riding the train or whatever. So we get to Newark. So now we see his best friend. So we hanging out with the best friend. The best friend like, oh yeah, that's your new man or whatever. Yeah, he cute. Blah blah, whatever. So I go to his house. We chilling in his house or whatever. He cooked food, all this shit. You know, with his mother, all that. Blah blah. His mother said hi. I seen one of his sisters. I met his brother. Whatever. Right? So now it's getting kind of late. It's like 4:30. I'm like, I'm about to piss on myself. It's getting late and it's time for me to go home. So I'm like, you gotta take me home, like right now. Cause it's getting late and I gotta get home. So he like, all right, whatever. You know, he like, all right, let's go catch the bus. This, that, and third. So I'm like, okay, cool. So now, when we on our way to the bus, he like, oh, the bus come in 19 minutes. I'm like, 19 minutes? I'm like, I gotta get home now. I'm panicking. I'm about to piss on myself. He like, just relax. You're gonna be fine. I'm gonna get you home. This, that, and third. I'm like, you don't know nobody that could get me an Uber. This, that, and third. He like, oh, he don't really got no money on his card. He don't got no money to get no cabs. He just got like $10 on him right now. So he could just get food and his mother gotta give him more money the next day. I'm like, damn, you can't ask her right now. He was like, no. I was like, damn, I'm panicking. I know I'm about to piss on myself. I'm about to be home late. My father gonna slap the shit out of me. Like, I was so pissed, y'all. Let me tell y'all. We got to the train. We got on the train. The whole ride home. I was about to piss. I was shaking. I was nervous. I'm like, oh, nah, it's clipped. So he was like, do you want me to take you all the way home? Or you just want me to take you to the train and then you could take the bus from the app? So I'm like, you know what? Just give me a little hug or whatever. You go about your day and I'll take the bus home and be on my way. By the time I get home, y'all, it's 7 o'clock when I get on the bus. When I get on that Q5 to drop across the street from my house to walk up the street, it is 7 o'clock, y'all. It is late as hell. Mind you, that's not late. But my dad is so strict that he wanted me to come home as soon as possible. Like, it was no ifs, ands, or buts. It was like, yeah, school is over, get your ass in that house. That was the case. Like, he never wanted me outside, period. My dad was so strict. He never used to let me go out with friends. You know, sneaky parents. I mean, strict parents create sneaky kids. And that's one thing that I've always been hearing. And that's the reason why I know that I grew up to be sneaky, because my parents never used to let me do nothing. So it was just like, okay, you're not gonna let me do shit, I'm gonna do what I wanna do. So now, y'all, I get off the bus, because the bus that I took, the Q5, from the Ave to my house, the bus take like 25 to 30 minutes. So I got off the bus at exactly 7:30, because when I was getting off the bus, being that I didn't have no phone, I like looked into somebody else's phone that was standing next to me, and I saw it was 7:30. So y'all, now I'm about to piss on myself walking up the street. So I'm walking. My heart is beating mad fast. I'm like, nah, it's clipped. I'm about to get that ass whooped And I know for a fact my dad is gonna be pissed at me. Pissed. I open the door, it goes click, and I open the door. My dad is standing right there. Yo, my stepmother said, "Where were you? Why are you coming home so late?" My dad never jetted down the stairs so fucking fast and was like, "Where were you?" I was like, "Oh, I had an interview at the Gap. I applied and I got the interview and I thought it was gonna be finished at 4:30 because that day I had after school. So I thought like I could pull it off." So mind you, my dad, like, because of the fact that I was so sneaky, I was always lying to my dad. So it got to a point where I just kept lying where he never believed me. So even if I was really telling the truth, he wasn't believing me, even though this time I was dead ass lying. Obviously, I wasn't telling the truth. Because I linked a whole boy and then he dropped me home. Well, at least 30 minutes away from home. Close enough. And then I'm lying saying I had an interview at Gap. So now I'm sitting here lying, this, not that. I'm like, you know what? I went and I had an interview, this, and that. My stepmom like, "I know you lying. You was hanging out with your friends. You went to see somebody. You was outside all night. We don't even know where you at. You know you don't have a phone. It's no way to communicate with you." Like, she was going off. And my dad was going off. My dad was like, "All you want to do is be loose and be in the street and you don't listen and da-da-da-da-da." My dad like, "Pack your shit and go to your mother's house." So I woke upstairs. So I'm packing my shit and my dad is just staring at me like, "Yeah, pack it all up." So mind you, I'm packing up my stuff. I'm trying not to let my dad see all the hair products I got because he calls everything gay. Like, he was like, "Oh, you using too much hair products? That's gay. Oh, you using too much face products? That's gay." Da 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 da. Like, everything for him was gay. Like, it was just gay, gay, gay. Like, he just hated it. So now I'm packing. I'm about to be done though. Then my dad turns around and says, "Oh yeah, that's how I know you really want to leave because you packing so fast." But I'm so confused. Like, you just told me pack your shit and go to your mother's house. You expected me to stay in there and like just not listen and just stay? Like, no. Once you said pack my stuff and go, I'm out. So I start packing my stuff. So he like, "Give me the key." So I gave him the key and then I stepped out the door and he locked the door right behind me. Mind you, the boy I linked gave me a phone. That was the best part about that day because I actually had a phone with service to communicate with somebody. With service on it. I had a phone with service on it to communicate. So I communicated with him with the phone and I texted him and I was like, "Oh, I'm on my way to my friend's house up the street and I'm about to tell her like what happened." So I went to my friend's house and mind you, this is the girl that I was mad close with in the other story time, but me and her not friends no more. But at the time, like, since me and her was friends and we was close, I was like, that was somebody who lived so close to me and I could trust her. I went to her house. So her mother was there and they was asking me like, "Oh, what happened? Like, your dad really kicked you out?" And I was like, "Yeah, because I went to see this boy or whatever, but you know, obviously I could tell my friend the real story, but I can't tell my father." So I was like, "Yeah, I went to link this boy, She was like, "Oh, he got you a phone. That's good because, you know, you didn't have a phone for the longest. He at least gave you a phone so you have something to communicate with him. And you got a way to communicate with me as your friend." That's what she was saying and stuff like that. So I told her like the whole story. Y'all, I started breaking down. I was crying. I was like, "My father is so mean. I was never allowed to go nowhere." Like, I was so upset. And this all happened because I went to link a boy. Like, and he didn't even know. Up until this day, he still don't know. And that's just crazy. Like, So then that same night, I didn't stay at my friend's house. I called my mother and was like, oh, that she gotta come get me because my dad kicked me out. I'm up the street at my friend's house. And I was like, I don't have a problem with sleeping here, but I was like, I'm not sleeping here tonight because, you know, I got so much bags and stuff. I don't want to have all these bags at her house. So my mother called my uncle, and my uncle do cabs. So my uncle came and my uncle got us. So now when we in a cab, I'm sitting here telling my mother the whole story. So she like, why would your father do that? And this and the third, just because you got a job interview, whatever. Mind you, I lied to my mother too about the thing. I didn't want to tell her that I went to link a boy, and that's the reason why I ended up coming home late. But that was really besides the point. I just feel like if you're a parent by a certain age, you should really let your child start doing stuff. Mind you, this was a week before I even turned 18. I was still 17. So that's why I'm like, it don't make no sense for me at 17 to be restricted and always in a house, can't go nowhere. Like, that shit was sad. And that's the reason why I'm happy that I moved with my mother. You know what I'm saying? And I started to get my little freedom, and I started linking my cousins, linking my friends, all that shit. And I started to be free because I hated being inside and not be able to go nowhere. That was the worst thing. Moral of the story, don't link niggas. That's it. Because you will really get in trouble. But I feel like it was a good thing for me to link that boy because I broke out. That was the only way I would have broke out. I probably still would have been living in my father's house right now, and I wouldn't be able to express myself and be as free as I was. But moral of the story, don't lick niggas if you know you're gonna get in trouble. But if it's really worth it, like how it was for me, because it was worth it. Because I broke out of my father's house, and I just couldn't stay there. Like, I was like, I have to get out. Like, I have to find a way. So that's the story, y'all. Bye.